I'm reviewing Maithili's Icebreaker speech, which she delivered yesterday at the very club. If you might be in that room, if you are listening to this, or just have to see because I have the recording. She has not posted the recording online. What I liked about Maithili's Icebreaker speech was this was the second time I'm reviewing this speech. We were preparing it on the draft stage. She had a extremely confident opening. Good evening, and she put in I'm MJ. Then she also attempted humor, not Michael Jordan, but Maithili Joshi. So well done. What I also liked was Maithili's smile and warmth when she presented her message. She also asked the question around Bollywood. Now, when we ask questions right at the introduction, it draws the attention back into the audience. So that's a very good strategy. And it was, in fact, a Bollywood story inside a speech. It had humble beginnings. It had conflict, and then a resolution. So it ticked off all the story formula. So it was very attractive, to be honest. Now, here are a few things, and because this is not a standard Toastmaster, I will not cover the praise improvement praise, but I will just cover how do we step up. So, speech is already good, but how do we step one stage further? I think one step further, a little baby steps. I'm not going to give you 10 different points of feedback, but here are a few, something to watch for in our next speech. Maithili introduced, I'm MJ. People started laughing. And Maithili then moved on. There are a few points where people were enjoying that speech and Maithili just moved on. She did not stop for people. Now, in comedy world, it's actually a big grave sin if the comedian doesn't stop for the audience to laugh. Then it's very difficult to win back your audience if they're gone. There were a few instances during the COVID era when she mentioned COVID happened. The audience was laughing and then she moved on. So looking at the audience and pausing, ensure that audience have their laugh and then move on. Maithili asked question too many times. So she asked, raise your hand around if you have seen Bollywood. People raised their hands. Then Maithili in the first segment, she put in a quote around the universe. Raise your hands if you believe in this particular philosophy. Now we are asking for and it's no harm in asking that question. The challenge with that one is the question came in too early. We are asking people to believe in what you believe. That happens typically at the end. Or in persuasion language, we ask for people's belief. Say, for example, you are selling something. We ask for a sale after giving our stories. When we ask beforehand, people, I will ask, why should I believe it? That's the reason, Maithili, you might have seen few number of hands coming up. So potentially, we can plant that question in the middle after the audience has come with you on the journey. In the introduction and the first point, we are holding the audience's hand and taking them on our journey. The other bit was really picky. I felt Maithili was very back at the stage. I don't know how the MC planted it, prepared the stage. I would say arrive to the Toastmasters Club 5 to 10 minutes early and ask the question, what is the stage? Ask an audience member who is sitting, am I too far from the stage? And if I'm too far, take 2 steps and then you define the stage. You also potentially challenge the Toastmasters notion around, you can put forward, look, the stage is too far. Can we move it 2 steps ahead? So I am with the crowd. The challenge with people too far on the stage, during stagecraft, and if you can watch the video on stagecraft, every part of the stage has a meaning. We start at the center, and when we go back, it's typically we recede for negative emotions, to access negative emotions. Step forward for accessing positive emotions. So again, emotional philosophy. So a very minor feedback is just sit yourself, like think of the audience. If you are too far, you are appearing smaller. That means your message has an indirect connotation that it would be small. To appear big, step forward. I also, and these are the 3 points which I want you to, like, in fact, one point that I want you to take it in your next speech. One point was, why should the audience listen to you? Why? Because remember, the audience only listen to one radio channel. I call it as WIIFM. What is in it for me channel. To get to that channel, we as speakers need to tune our frequency with the audience's frequency. Once you tune with the audience's frequency, then persuasion happens. So we are dealing with advanced concepts of persuasion, how to speak persuasively. But in any speech, we have, in the introduction, right at the introduction, tell them what is in it for them. Yes, it was to introduce yourself, but in the next speech, what can they learn? How do we do that? By using you-centric questions. Or in fact, when we plant rhetorical questions, for example, Maithili mentioned failure, right? I failed in the English test 4 times. Pause and ask, have you failed in something that you really wanted? Let the audience nod, silence, and then move on. When we plant you-centric language, we start tuning into the audience's world, and that's quite critical. I think that's it. These are just, otherwise I love the speech. It had a journey, well crafted, well presented, and big thumbs up from me. No using notes. Because when we move away from notes, we really focus on the audience and tune into their channel. If we rely on notes, we are still tuned into our channel. And once 2 people, the audience and the speaker, are tuned into different channels, then nobody's listening to each other. Thank you, and I look forward for your next speech, Maithili. Have a wonderful day. Bye.